Warning! Hey, dumbass! This show is called The Offenders. So if you hear something that offends you, then we are doing our fucking job. So quit crying. Love the offenders.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Offenders Podcast. This week, coming all the way from the great city of Macon, Georgia, Evan.
Howdy, everybody. My name's Evan. I'm from the great city of Macon, Georgia. And Kyle forgot to mention he's in the great city of Athens, Georgia.
Athens is a pretty amazing city, I'll have to admit. It's a good thing I stay inside for the most part because it's so goddamn hot outside.
Well, it is a pretty cool place. My dad lives there, so I enjoy going up there and hanging out. Nice, cool shops and lots of pretty women walking around, which is most important.
Oh, there's not a lot of them right now. Well, I mean, there are, but not as many as when the school's in session. So, but yeah, this week it's just me and Evan again. And we got a couple stories we're going to talk about to start things off with. So in the news lately, I'm sure everybody at this point's heard how the NSA is watching all the porn that we all download. And so that's what they're doing. Is I actually think the NSA is building a giant porn library. And
shit, that'd be a dream job for me.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out what porn everybody likes so they can market porn better.
We're gonna buy it.
Yeah, for real. Internet.
X-Hamster, X-Videos. I mean, come on. Those dudes are gonna get shut down mega upload style. 15 helicopters, the big fat ass dude sitting in his house. He ain't going anywhere.
With his inflatable tank.
Yeah.
But, so one of the companies that supposedly is, pretty much just giving them backdoor access to everything is, Facebook.
What?
I know, right? You're telling me that Facebook doesn't have our privacy in mind? So, one of the things that's come out about Facebook, and this was actually in a book that was written, I think it's maybe a few years ago now, 2 or 3 years back. But supposedly Facebook has a master password.
That just sounds so badass.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you find out what it is. But basically, she was one of the first employees they had. I think, in fact, she was the 51st employee. Her name was Catherine Loss. And in her book, The Boy King, she basically talked about her time at Facebook. And she said one of the first things that happened, and this just, she was just shocked and stunned that they had this, was she was given the master password, with which she said you can log in as any Facebook user and gain access to all messages and data.
Awesome.
So yeah, just basically imagine everybody at Facebook, not necessarily everybody, but at this point probably when there's only 51 employees, everybody there had access to this master password. They can log in and do whatever they want to. I mean,
see, the thing is, on my side of this thing, I don't really go crazy over all the privacy stuff because I know this is a brash overgeneralization, but if you're not doing anything fucked up, you don't really got anything to worry about. All I do on Facebook is post funny videos and then just share times when I made an ass of myself to make other people laugh and then talk about running and, believing in yourself and shit like that. But I think it's these people who are just they have 5 Facebooks that they cheat on their husband or their wife with, and they don't want those secret lives to be compromised by these government evil people who don't want these people's dicks to go into other vaginas. I think those are the main different graphics of people. Those and crazy rednecks with 17 assault rifles, that is.
Well, it's not just that, though. It's not just what you're posting to get, because for the most part, most people's Facebooks are fucking open, so you can go look at it anyways. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you the number of people that's oh, my Facebook's closed to the public. I'm like, really? Well, you just posted this yesterday, and you're not my friend. I can fucking read it. You might want to go double check your settings, sir.
That's right.
But it's other stuff that you put in there, because Facebook asks for your phone number and it asks for addresses and stuff like that, and that's not necessarily public, but that means these people have access to it. And if this master password or any of these open door things that a lot of these companies are claiming have been given to the NSA, that means the NSA or anybody can get it too. Mm-hmm. So if you don't want people to, say, have your address and phone number, like you said, you're not posting anything private, but maybe you've put that information in. They can still get it. And the other thing is that Facebook's not just... I'm trying to think of the best way of putting it. It's not like you're just posting something. Facebook's actually learning about you. And there are people who don't even have Facebook, but Facebook has created phantom Facebooks for them.
Say what?
Yeah. So the way it does that is, if, say, you post a picture of somebody who doesn't have a Facebook, and other people have posted pictures of who don't have Facebooks, okay? It starts looking to see what's in common. So it's like, okay, well, all these people know this person in this thing is tagged but doesn't have a page. He exists, but we don't know him. But he has all these friends in common, okay? Well, all these friends went to the same school. We can assume that he went to this school too.
Man, this just got so much more awesome.
Yeah. Then they could be like, oh, well, we know that all these people, like maybe out of all these people who have contact with this guy who's not on Facebook, we know that they're all into metal music. So we can assume he's probably into metal music too.
Mm-hmm.
And so this person may even have a Facebook page they don't even know about because they've never actually been to Facebook or used it or refused to use it. But Facebook's created a page for them so they can still market to them in case something goes through.
Money, 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 money.
Yeah. That
all
to
it's
me
all
is
about.
that to me is crazy. I mean, like I understand how it works because it's all just statistics and stuff, but it's crazy that this company's doing that and they're creating these fake pages so they can basically have track of everybody.
It makes you wonder, well, I mean, of course it's easy to go off on a limb here, wrong tree metaphor, go off on a limb here and say that, it's turning into some kind of crazy identity report style thing where it's just like everything about you will always be known at all times. But it's just hard for me to believe that. I mean, I'm not going to say that the government is for the good of everybody all the time, but it's hard for me to believe that, all this stuff is going to be used against everybody. I think it's for the certain cases when shit hits the fan, it makes it the people who fucked up easier to target and find. The only thing that would scare me, theoretically speaking, is if they started making laws that are no longer, like, let's say that wearing the color green becomes illegal or something fucking crazy like that. As of right now, if they use this to get some guy who's like going around and fucking murdering children, I could give two shits. But until something crazy happens where they start making a bunch of new laws that are just outlandish, I'm not really worried about it. Why do you think I should be worried about it?
Well, the thing is they're not using it to catch people who committed crimes. They're using it to, once they suspect somebody who's doing something bad, they then go back and look at it, and then they declare, oh, well, we can see all this evidence that they were probably going to do this, or they did do this, stuff like that. So they're kind of, they're minority reporting it, basically. They're trying to say that once we have a thought that somebody might do something, then we can go back and find evidence that they were going to do it, and then arrest them, prosecute them, watch them, or do whatever. Or if they, maybe if they did do it, then we can look back. That's the problem. It's not that they're actively using it. Because truthfully, using Facebook to catch somebody, I'm going to tell you right now, I doubt anybody in any terrorist cell is using Facebook, Google, or Yahoo to fucking transmit to each other. Or Verizon or AT&T.
For real. For real.
And another thing, another article that came out this week talked about Mark Zuckerberg's basically the head of the largest spy organization in the world.
Yeah, I read that.
And the thing is that you don't even he's not even having to spy on you. He's created a business where his business is you give him your secrets. Mm-hmm. And a lot of like government and military stuff realized that, and that's why they wanted to go after social media. In fact, one of the people I have classes with, she worked for the Army in the military for a while as a civilian, and her whole job was social network structure.
Whoa.
Yeah, all she did was like review social networking statistics type stuff to basically try to pinpoint things and stuff like that. So like I was talking to her about all this stuff with NSA imprisonment. She's like, that's not surprising. She's like, I did some of that. She's like, that was my job. She was like, it's way deeper than people probably even imagine. Probably deeper than she said she knew. She's like, but that's what they want that because she's like, everybody gives me. You go on Facebook and you tell them everything, and now they can use that. And then all they do is, like, if they can get in touch with Google and they can find out your Google search history, then they can start basically figuring out who you are, and they can figure out what you do and stuff like that. That's the problem. I mean, all these companies, like, people are like, they don't think about it, but Facebook, Google, Yahoo, Twitter, all of them, they're all free services. So where do they make their money? They make their money off of you. You're the product. Mm-hmm. Whether that means they're selling your information to other companies, or they're selling you ads. That's the problem. We don't know. I'm pretty sure it's a mix of both. So,
well, let me ask you this. How often have the Google ads worked? Because, I mean, I might have clicked 3 in 5 years.
I don't think I've ever really clicked any unless it was by accident. But some of the ads are click-through revenue, so like if you click them, they make money. Some of them are just, the ad just goes, so even if you don't click it, they make money. But
See, that doesn't really bother me because it's just like a commercial. I mean, it's an inconvenience, but I have to mention something really important before I forgot. I wanted to thank you for correcting me because I'm a stupid old man, and I said identity report, but you totally got it and said minority report, so I wanted to thank you for that.
Yeah, I was thinking, what the fuck is identity report?
It's an old man. What's the name of that film, Identity Report?
You know that film with that man who was married to that woman? They were in that other movie where they fucked? They used to be married.
He was one of them Scientarians, wasn't he? But again, I got to play devil's advocate here, man. It's like, you know, even if they do track all the stuff that you do, it's just like, would they look at Evan Jones? You know, I'm a pretty open book guy. All they're going to see is me looking at video game websites. They're going to see me looking at hentai and porn, you know, like old philosophy and religion stuff, and maybe some t-shirts or hooded sweatshirts. You know, there's nothing that I really have that's going to be crazy that I would be afraid to just be like, hey, this is what I look at. Does that make sense? Well, that's where I think stuff like that's not really going to matter.
Well, see, and that's fine for you, but because you don't mind, but there's laws in place that prevent what they're doing from happening, and they're circumnavigating the laws. That's the problem. I mean, stuff like Facebook, you've given them permission. That's in their, they call EULA, which is basically like the terms of service you sign up to, which no one ever reads because it's like 400 pages.
Yeah, right. And then they complain about it later.
Yeah. So, this is so bullshit. This should be illegal. It's on their fucking EULA. You signed it. I signed it. Everybody's got a Facebook fucking signed it, whether you agree to it or not. You just click, I agree. And that's all it takes. That's how it works with, like, you get your new smartphone, and you're like, oh, hell yeah, I can't wait to start using this thing. You're just clicking through, I accept. You're probably accepting them turning on tracking on you for a lot of these apps, which is what happens when you just accept them, you know? And it's not like they're tracking you because they want to know stuff. They don't, because they're trying to, you know, spy on you. They're tracking you because the more they can learn about you and your habits, the better they can sell ads to you and the more money they can make off of you. That's what it comes from a business perspective.
Yeah.
Government perspective, it's just fucking nosy as hell and they want to know everything that's going on. They don't think they're breaking the law because they're the government.
Yeah, right.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's one of those things like, I think we said this before, it's like we bitch about it, but it's just, you know, what are we going to do afterwards? I'm going to post this on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly.
Not going to change anything. I mean, because in this day and age, you cannot not be social networked in some way or another. Like, I was talking to somebody about when I graduate, you know, getting a job, and he's like, oh, do you have a LinkedIn account? I'm like, I have one, but it's empty. He's like, oh, you need to fill that out right now. He's like, because that's how employers find you. And I talked to some other people in my department. And they're like, yeah. She's like, I get recruiters all the time contacting me because they see I'm at the University of Georgia and they see what I'm doing and they're trying to hire me before I'm even graduated. I was like, really? It's like, that's crazy. I was like, the problem with that though is it's why I don't use my real name in any of the social media for the most part, because if they know you've got that, they try to go look you up in other things to see what they can find out about you.
Yeah.
You know? It's fucked up, man.
I thought about getting a LinkedIn, but then again, that probably doesn't do too well for death metal, hardcore musicians, or bad pun experts.
You could start it, though.
Shit.
Do you have
People would pay me not to play music or make bad puns.
Do you have an about.me?
No, what's that? You
can go to it, and if your name hasn't been taken, you can get what they call an about.me, which basically it then becomes evanjones.me. And it's basically just a one-page thing that's about you. And you can post links to your other stuff and put a picture up or something. Some people, mostly like journalists and people who are kind of in that kind of thing, who, you know, just, they have a name, do that. I have one just because I was like, I wanted to have that name. I don't want anybody else to have my name up there. Go look and it's like, oh, cool. Oh, shit, it's a porn star. A gay porn star. Fuck, no. You know?
Like Evil Ed from Fright Night, man. Bless his heart. You know, they have a G-rated version of one of his movies on YouTube. I was actually talking to my buddy about it last night downtown. I can't get up the guts to actually go and watch it, but I'm sure it would be hilarious because he's like, yeah, they cut everything from it, so it's all of it is just face shots and all this other stuff, and it's just like, I mean, it sounds funny, but halfway through I'd just be like, man, what happened to Evil Ed, man?
What would even be the point?
I know, right?
I mean, it's like watching some of these...
A soap opera.
Yeah, or it'd be like watching deciding to watch Pulp Fiction on cable. They're gonna edit
it's like 2 minutes long.
Yeah, they're gonna edit so much out. Melon Farmer.
Oh, man. Yeah. Monday, Friday.
Yeah. Monkey Farmer. That's another one I remember.
Monkey Farmer. That's really good. I'll have to use that. I say Mother Nature at work a lot. That's one of my favorites.
Mother Nature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I curse her like in general. Like, fucking Mother Nature. It's goddamn rain.
Man, she just needs some hugs. That's all.
All right. Well, so our first story is kind of a little bit more serious, I guess. So we're going to go into something that to me is extremely serious and should not be laughed at in any way whatsoever. So, everybody knows who the Westboro Baptist Church is.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much like the worst people ever. Okay. So recently, the Satanic Church, or Temple of Satan, or Satanists, whatever you want to call them.
No, I'm not supposed to be laughing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is serious shit, dude. Don't laugh at this.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. So they went to the grave of the founder of the Westboro Baptist Church mother, and they performed a pink mass. Now, for those of you who don't know what a pink mass is, it means they performed a ritual that turned her gay in the afterlife. The ritual, basically, what the ritual consisted of was a satanic priest stood over like gay people as they like made out over her grave. And so supposedly now,
that's fucking genius.
Fred Phelps' mother's gay, and they said, we believe that Fred Phelps is obligated to believe that his mother is now gay in the afterlife.
That's so good, man. I mean, it's like, normally I'd say that's going way too far, but that fucking asshole deserves it. They're just a bunch of hate mongers, and this is one of the greatest practical jokes of all times, obviously.
Yeah, it says same-sex couples were invited to visit her Mississippi grave and make out so that Phelps' mother will be pleasured in the afterlife by lady spirits, we'd assume. The temple also says it will turn more of Phelps' dead relatives gay if the Westboro Baptist Church continues to picket funerals or plot horrific terrorist actions.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah, they threatened to turn his dad gay and then his great-aunt gay, who is the one who took care of him after his mom died.
The gods have a wonderful sense of humor, don't they?
Yeah, I saw this, though, and I thought it couldn't be for real, and then I read it, and I've seen it in multiple locations also, but that's pretty hardcore. I mean, turning somebody's dead relative gay.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, I mean, Mormons will go and bless somebody's name just so that they can be their slave on a different planet in the afterlife, so it's not really all that far-fetched.
I didn't know that it was to make them their slave. I thought it was just to make them Mormon.
There is much that you need to learn.
If I'm
we'll probably be talking about this much later.
True. But
this is going to come up in the future on The Offenders.
Well, my thing is, too, with the Satanists and the Westboro Baptist Church stuff, it's like, I haven't seen how the Westboro Baptist Church has acknowledged it, if they've acknowledged it.
Boy, to be a fly on the wall in that dude's house when he found that out, I bet he was like, well, man, what is he doesn't cuss. What would he say?
Oh, I'm sure he does. I think a whole lot of the Westboro Baptist stuff is a sham anyways, because they've shown that what they like to do is go to cities and do these horrific protest type things, and then if the city stops them from doing it, they then sue the city for obstruction of constitutional law or something, and they make money off of them like that. Because you're like, everybody asks, how the hell do they have money? Who the hell's donating to these people? They're just suing the shit out of everybody.
They're legal trolls. That's all they are. They're legal trolls.
Yeah, that's basically the best way of putting it. And like, now they're at the lower rungs, there are probably a lot of people who really do believe what they're doing. The people who go out there and do it, they probably do believe this crazy ass shit and doing these crazy ass things. But it's the people in the top, the Phelps, I'm sure for the most part, they probably have some belief in it, but they're more in it for like just the money.
And you know what's funny? It's kind of like a Borat thing because, I think just living here in Georgia, I've met a lot of people that would probably openly agree with a lot of the shit that they say, but because everybody else around them says, no, you can't say that, they're like, no, they're evil. But then you listen to conversations that people in everyday life have, and it's like, you sound like you're at the fucking Westboro Baptist Church all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think people in general tend to mimic those that they're with the most. So, like, you could be somebody who's, like, extremely conservative and stuff like that, but if you start hanging around people that aren't, you maybe you won't believe or you won't feel the way they do, but you're probably less likely to talk about it. And most people are probably less likely to actually even give their opinion if they feel like they're going to be outnumbered or ganged up on.
Yep. That's why I don't like talking about religion in public. One time, I don't know if I mentioned this before or not, but I was talking about Thanos, from the Marvel Universe with one of my buddies, and this lady came over, and she was like, you need to go to church now. And me and my buddy Damon, we're just like looking at each other like, what the fuck? And she's like fucking shaking, turning red. She's just like, this blasphemy that you're proudly discussing is going to end you up in hell. And she was dead fucking serious, dude. And we're just sitting there like, okay. And so I tried to be nice. I was like, thank you for caring about me, but I think I'm going to be all right. And, the nicer that I got, the more angry she became. And it's just, so I can understand why people don't want to go out and say things of that nature. But still, sometimes you just got to stand your ground.
You should have just, like, put your hands down, looked up at her and smiled and said, I thank you for the caring, but what I need you to do is mind your own fucking business. And giving her, like, the craziest wide-eyed look in your life.
I could do that, but I would laugh if you did it.
And then just screamed Hail Satan at the end of it. And done, like, the metal fingers and just, like, headbanged right there to nothing. Just headbanging in the middle of the fucking place. With the metal fingers held high the horns.
Like the fucking two dudes by the river who were trying to make the fire and they were just headbanging for no reason. You ever see that video?
No, I haven't.
Well, it's going to happen soon. It's an amazing video.
All right. But yeah, I think for the most part, like, you're right, that a lot of the people, especially down here around us, they probably feel or agree with a lot of it. Like, I don't necessarily know if they think that soldiers die because they're two guys humping on the other side of the planet. But I think
enjoying a Wednesday. Yeah.
But I think they pretty much do blame a lot of stuff on things like that because they've got this weird, I don't know. I can't even fathom what would lead people to imagine certain things causing other certain things. It's just so foreign to me to think like that.
Who knows, man? You think you figure people out, and then somebody comes over and just does a backflip for no reason, and you're just like, thank you for that lesson.
Okay, yeah, these freaking spontaneous backflips.
Exactly, because it's like, what's the purpose for that? There's always going to be chaos. You can only categorize things and order them so much before something's going to show up, It's like when you go and you're fucking riding a bike down the street and you swallow a moth, it's like, what the fuck?
That's why you should pedal with your mouth closed.
You should, but what if you have a deviated septum and you can only breathe through your mouth?
Okay, fair enough. I shouldn't have called out all of our fans with deviated septums.
That sounds like such an awesome, like, death metal band name. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, deviated septum.
And do they all have deviated septums?
And, like, instead of doing guitar solos, they just blow their noses. So it'd just be like... So it just sounded like somebody strumming the guitar real fast.
That's fucking terrible.
I know. That's like the worst feeling in the world when your nose is stuffed up and you want to blow your nose, but all you get is like a... I hate that shit so much. Your face is turning purple and you're just looking like an idiot.
Or you do it, you're like blowing so hard, like it's like the pressure just builds up, like you can feel like your ears pop from doing it. You're just like just trying to blow your nose so damn hard because you're like, if I could just do it, I'll just feel so much better.
It's like back in the day, in the caveman era when we were kids, when you would try to get a McDonald's milkshake and you would try to drink it, no matter how big that fucking straw is, it just wouldn't move for like 5 minutes. And just, God, I'm glad they fixed that.
Yeah, it was like cement. You're like, And you're sitting there just like that straw is just flat. You're sucking so hard to try to get that milk turning fucking purple, falling out.
And then that one touch of chocolate hits your tongue, and you do like a backflip, and fucking fireworks go off. You're like, yeah!
Metal fingers headbanging to it. Yeah.
Exactly. All of a sudden, like, there's a row of people doing windmill headbanging instead of cheerleaders.
Exactly. All right. So, this week we're going to do something a little different. We're not going to do a question. I'm going to propose a theory.
Okay, let's hear it. What is it?
All right. So,
women who wear baseball caps are lesbians.
I'm not going to propose that theory because I know a lot of women who wear baseball caps who aren't lesbians.
Okay, that's a bad theory. What's yours?
Okay. So my theory, I first have to lay down some groundwork and build a timeline of events before I go into the theory. But you'll see where I'm going once I do this, okay?
I'm ready, David Icke. Kyle.
So follow me through this adventure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, late last year, I believe, or early this year, the state of Michigan passed this law saying that if a city or county was in terrible financial state, they could appoint an emergency manager to that county or city to manage it. All right. Now, what this emergency manager could do is he could sell off public property like City Hall. He could break union contracts. He could privatize various like services. He could even fire elected officials. Okay?
Okay, I'm following you.
So they've got this emergency law in place to take care of, because Michigan has a lot of fucked up shit. Okay? Now, specifically, the most fucked up place in Michigan is Detroit.
Shit.
So Detroit's crazy fucked up. All right? Like, it's had problems for a long time. A lot of it stems from the fact that, like, the auto industry basically abandoned it.
And let's not even get into the fucking fraud in Michigan.
Yeah. Especially insurance-wise, the fraud's atrocious.
Shit.
So, in Detroit, it was so bad that the state of Michigan appointed one of these emergency managers. Okay? So they create this law, and then they basically tell Detroit, you can't manage your shit. It's so bad. We're going to take over the city and appoint an emergency manager. Okay, so they hire a guy named Kevin Orr. Now, Kevin Orr was a bankruptcy attorney in several major bankruptcy cases. Okay, so now he's he's now the emergency manager of Detroit, Michigan. Okay, now after this happens, a month later, a piece of legislation is proposed that states that it would be illegal for a public entity such as a city or maybe some kind of like police force or something like that, to offer a service that would conflict with a private sector company. Okay.
Uh-oh.
So a great example of this, now laws like this have been passed, but most of them are very specific. But one of the most specific ways they've been going about is a lot of cities have tried to create municipal Wi-Fi. Basically means that if you're in the city in a certain area, you got Wi-Fi, it doesn't matter. So you don't have to pay
has
for
that,
it.
I think.
Yeah, and I think a couple other major cities in the U.S. have it, but not many. But what happens a lot of times, the reason a lot of places don't have it is because when they try to do it, the cable companies come in and they get them to pass laws that make it illegal for them to do that. Because it takes away money from them. Because if you got free Wi-Fi, unless you really want something specific from your cable company, you're not going to pay for the fucking high-speed internet.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the third thing. All right. So now we've got where the state can appoint emergency managers to run these cities, who can basically then sell off and do whatever they need to make money. We then have an emergency manager appointed to Detroit, which is probably the worst off city. And third, we have this piece of legislation that makes it illegal for the cities to act against companies. The fourth thing just happened this week, and that's Detroit filing bankruptcy. Okay, the whole city bankrupt.
God damn.
All right. So those are the events that we need to think about. All right. So with these events in mind, I want you to think back to the 80s. Okay.
I'm there.
All right. You're there. So you're wearing your members only jacket.
Yeah.
All right. And you're
my Umbros soccer shorts.
Your Umbros soccer shorts. Hell yeah. Okay. Some Reeboks.
Yep. Pumps.
Yep. And I want you to think back to the movies of the 80s.
Okay.
and specifically to one movie. It's actually a series of movies. It's about a man.
Beverly Hills Cop.
Close. It is a cop movie, but it's about a cop who died, but he comes back as a cyborg
Maniac
cop. No. RoboCop.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Okay, so RoboCop for those of you who haven't seen it, basically it's a cop in Detroit. Detroit's like crazy fucked up. It's so fucked up that a corporation has come in to take over many parts of the city to run it, and one of which is the police force, okay? So, of course, the corporation does not have the public interest in mind. They have their own interest in mind, and they're going to use the police force to basically test out weaponry or soldiers or whatever to sell to the government, or to sell to the government and the military. And their eventual goal is they want to basically build a new city over Detroit. So they want to run it to the ground so they can do that. Okay, so that's what happens in the first RoboCop movie is they create RoboCop to be one of these soldiers. And, of course, he fights against the OCP, or the Omni Consumer Products Company. That's the one that's running everything. Okay, and then the second movie is OCP causes the city to file bankruptcy so they can tear it down and build a new city over it.
Holy shit.
All right, so all of this comes together to form my theory that I call the Detroit reenactment theory. What is currently going on is, in an attempt to make money, the state of Michigan is turning Detroit into the largest theme park in the entire world. It's going to be a theme park that reenacts the entire RoboCop trilogy. Yes, there is a third RoboCop movie. I've never fucking seen it because it was supposedly terrible, but there is a third one.
Oh my god.
That's my theory, Evan. Dispute it. I want to hear somebody dispute my theory. There's no proof against it.
I can't, man. All I can think about is that dude melting in RoboCop 2 going, his skin's falling off.
After he crashes into the toxic waste, it's just randomly in this place.
Dude, let's go to Michigan and just watch. Can we get some captain's chairs from Kmart and just get a couple iced coffees and just watch this shit happen?
That would be pretty sweet. I mean, especially I'd want to pay for the what do you call it, the line skipper pass. I actually get to ride with RoboCop around town.
Dude,
I don't have to wait in
amazing.
line. It would be.
And if the employees forgot their lines, we could say them for them. Then RoboCop will be like, "Thank you for your cooperation."
That was perfect. I thought RoboCop was in the room. I turned around for a moment and looked. I thought he was here talking to me at this very moment. That was amazing.
Thank you.
I need more RoboCop in my life. In fact, I want you to just record a whole bunch of lines as RoboCop, and so I can just put them on my phone and on my computer so whenever I do stuff, you know. Oh man, yeah, dude. It's amazing.
So let's see if you guys out there disagree with his theory. Prove it. Say that it's not happening. If you agree with it, give us more theories as to why this is going to happen. Either way, let us know.
Yeah, exactly. You can email us any kind of thoughts you have on my theory or any other questions or even stories you see. We have a couple stories that people have sent us right now, too, that we need to talk about coming up. But if you have any questions you want us to ask, and I'll tell you right now, it doesn't matter how crazy the question is, we'll ask it.
Please, make them crazy. Here's one. If you had 250 pounds of vanilla pudding and you had to kill a grizzly bear, how would you do it? Give us some shit like that.
Hell yeah. That sounds like a good question. We'll have to leave that for another show, though.
Yep.
But yeah, if you have those questions, you can email them to us at offenderspodcast@gmail.com.
That's right. You can visit us on Facebook at The Offenders Podcast. Just look us up.
Yep. You can also, if you haven't already, if you're just listening to us on YouTube, you can subscribe to us on iTunes if you want to just download the audio, would not have to sit there with your browser open. Or if you're listening to us on iTunes, you can get us on YouTube too. We're just on YouTube. We are The Offenders. Just look that up.
And remember, if you listen to us on iTunes and you like us, give us a 5. If you listen to us on iTunes and you think that we suck, still give us a 5.
Yeah, exactly. Same on YouTube, too. If you're listening to us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to us. That way you'll know when a new one goes up, and then also hit the like button. That way it gets out for more people to listen to it.
And tell your friends. Say, hey, I've got these two jackasses that make a bunch of dumb jokes but talk about really funny news stories, and then they'll listen. Hopefully. Please.
Yeah, and if you have to lie to them, tell them whatever lies you have to tell them to get them to listen to. We accept that.
That'll work. That'll work.
All right. Well, then, until next time, I'm Kyle.
I'm Evan.
And this is The Offenders. Y'all have a good one.